What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merten here from DataDash, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's review, I want to spend some time to talk about one of the most predominant problems we all face when it comes to crypto. And it doesn't matter if you really made money or lost money trading or investing in crypto, because today we're talking about the inevitable topic of taxes. Now, obviously, taxes are not a fun topic to talk about, but thankfully, the tool we're going to be covering today, CPAI, dramatically simplifies the process of filing and collecting data for your taxes, but outside of that as well, aims to have a much higher degree of accuracy versus other tools utilizing AI and its advanced technology, so that you can not only have a more accurate report, but potentially save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the process. So in today's video, I want to talk about CPAI and what it brings to the table in regards to its offering. I want to talk about its parent company, MoonTax, which has a lot of experience in the world of filing taxes for crypto transactions. And outside of this, we'll talk about the core utility token, which is embedded into the protocol, CPAI. We got a lot to unpack here in today's video. If you happen to enjoy it, consider dropping a like, and let's go ahead and kick things off. So I want to start here by talking about taxes from a high-level overview, just to understand the problem. Filing for taxes is already pretty overwhelming, but in crypto, it has gotten worse and worse over the last few years. Back in 2017, when I got started, basically all you really had to do is keep track of your transactions on a centralized exchange like Coinbase, where you might be trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. But after a couple of years and the emergence of DeFi, various layer 1 and layer 2 protocols, new types of transactions like swaps, yield farming, as well as staking and lending and borrowing, the transaction range that you need to keep track of for all the taxable events that you might occur has just gotten worse and worse. And it leaves you susceptible to potentially not filing an accurate report or potentially paying too much in tax as well as potentially too little. So what we want to do is find the sweet spot. We want to make sure we can optimize our taxes as much as possible, get a full accurate reading, and be able to ideally pay as little legally obliged tax as possible by having an accurate report with all the tax advantages and deductions we can apply. So that's exactly what CPAI is focused on here. Now, as you guys will see, I'll run a quick demo of the platform on the screen. CPAI is a new platform that's been brought together by MoonTax, which is focused on dramatically simplifying your tax process. And the great thing about it is that it not only has a very high degree of accuracy on transactions, properly labeling them to make sure that you don't have any serious disparities or mislabeling the transaction that might lead you to overpaying on taxes when in reality you don't need to pay it. But beyond that as well, it's able to take in a wide range of different transaction types across a variety of different activities, from bridging across multiple layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains, as well as being able to factor in for various different types of complex DeFi type transactions. So this is all very important stuff here in the grand scheme of things when it comes to building a very valuable platform. Now, it is important to understand here that the platform is quite early. It's in its first iteration. So if you want to join the beta in this case, you can apply at the button on the website, where you can simply type in your full name and email, and you can hopefully get early access to the protocol. But as we'll talk about later on, in order to access CPAI, there's no real direct subscription cost, but that you have to instead stake a utility token, which is embedded into the platform, and with it allows you to get access towards a wide range of additional features like customer support, as well as some of the more complex features and advancements in the AI model that they utilize in order to get the most up-to-date tax reporting features that will allow you to have the best report possible. So this is an important thing to understand here, that the platform already is quite powerful. But outside of that as well, you'll be able to get access to secondary human-related resources and legal resources within the protocol. You'll be able to get access to legal opinions from firms like Olson and Partners, which I'm assuming MoonTax has worked with before, as well as filing and strategy. So being able to have proper tax advantage strategies, so you can ideally, as we talked about earlier, hopefully pay as little tax as possible that's required. For example, being able to, there's a couple examples I can think of right away that the platform will likely use. For example, like if you have losses towards the end of the tax year, making sure that you sell those positions so you can materialize those losses and lower your actual obliged taxable capital gains that you owe that year, essentially farming losses, as well as being able to make sure that with those properly labeled transactions, that a SIN transaction or something that isn't a taxable event isn't going to be marked as taxable income. So these are very important things to keep in mind here. The whole entire AI accounting process that the platform offers, as well as the human touch, where human intervention can come in, where AI may make mistakes or not be able to properly label something. So as we'll talk about, this is all very valuable stuff. But again, this all comes from the forefront of Moontax, which is a company that's worked in the Web3 space and has processed over $1 billion in crypto transactions for its clients. So this is, again, a doxed US team. This is something that's very important for me when you're working with taxes. All of the companies we've worked with over the past few years in taxes have been usually US based or Europe based. They're companies that follow the standard regulatory practice and understand all the up-to-date policies when it comes to filing taxes on these new different types of industries like crypto and Web3 that just seem to be getting more and more complex. And you have to work around the new laws and regulations that are established around this type of financial accounting. So if you want to take a look into Moontax, of course, they probably have their white glove service where essentially they can provide taxes for you, but they're putting a lot of their effort as of the last couple of months in the last year or so into building this new platform CPAI, which is focused on utilizing the power of AI to be able to automate this broader process. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit here about the platform and the CPAI token. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the CPAI token is really your gateway to accessing this protocol. It is a core utility token. The team has decided in this case to use the utility token approach, which is one of my favorites. Since 2017, this is one of the most consistent things where essentially if the platform itself sees broader adoption, ideally the token does well, rather than having some governance feature or some abstract concept of why the token would be valuable. This, at the end of the day, directly ties in to the usage of the protocol. So essentially, the CPI token needs to be staked in order to be able to access the feature set for the protocol. If we take a look at the tokenomics and the utility, the user has to stake around 5,000 CPAI tokens, which in this case is just like right over, I think, around 120 to 200 bucks. So in this case, you're able to stake it and be able to get access to the platform for multiple years, as well as a whole range of different feature sets within the CPI platform, such as the human resources and legal opinions. So right now, this is like, in my opinion, with all the softwares I've used, with the individual accountants that I've worked with before who have some knowledge in this industry, that's kind of a steal. Like, I'm just going to say it outright there. Now, in regards to whether or not you want to trade or invest in the CPI token, or you believe that it's going to go up and to the right in the long term, right? That's up for you to decide. I do think overall that the platform looks quite promising, and I do like utility token models as they do directly correlate with adoption of the platform. So this is, again, a bit separate from using the platform for taxes, right? As it is still in beta, it's still early stage, and AI itself is not perfect by any means, nor does the platform try to promote that it's perfect, adding in that additional human touch. At the same time, the utilization of AI, as well as their core Beam technology, which they utilized over at Moontax, really gives them a good position here where the CPAI token here, being a utility token, could really stand to benefit if the platform broadly grows long term. Now, again, we just got to start from a high level overview of the problem here. And I really like this tagline that essentially, if you were to earn $1 million on a meme coin, who are you going to go to, right? And this is something that's really important to understand here, which is that this entire world of crypto is constantly changing. There are new narratives, different transaction types, and finding an actual accountant who knows how to navigate this world is incredibly difficult. You're going to likely end up paying thousands of dollars out of pocket to have a human CPA, and you're still going to have to do a lot of the digging. You're going to have to do all the data gathering and all the work in order to be able to get this into something that is going to be a fileable report to the IRS or other authority or tax authority in your jurisdiction. So this is really a big problem here. So the great thing about the overall CPAI platform is that they're fixing a lot of the problems from some of the existing solutions in the market. So for example, not having the legal or strategic support, that human element here is very important. A standard tax lexicon. I've had it many times where I've utilized previous tax solutions on the market as we've worked with other partners before, and I was going through and trying some of these platforms. And so many of the transactions, unfortunately, got mislabeled or basically labeled as something that was a tax, they claimed would be a taxable event, but really it was a send transaction or a receive transaction. And at the end of the day, it was just funds being moved, or it was some type of DeFi transaction that was unlabeled or unable to be registered. So being able to register those different transaction types is very valuable here. And not to mention, a lot of the platforms tend to be very difficult to navigate. So there's a whole range of different problems here that CPAI is trying to fix. At the end of the day, they're also not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to build something that's going to be dramatically simple for people to use. And this is really, I think, an open sea market where there are going to be lots of different players providing different solutions. At the end of the day, this is a clear product market fit business use case. So this isn't some pie in the sky, white paper, crypto protocol. This is something that's absolutely tangible and needed in the industry. Having a tax solution that's actually usable, and along with that as well comes with a great suite of different features. It almost operates here again like a core business in the similar case as Moontax. Now, the big thing here that again is one of the big selling points is the use of AI. With the advancements of large language models, especially ones that are custom tailored towards particular use cases, we've seen how LLMs can become incredibly powerful. And this really helps in regards to the data accuracy of what CPAI is aiming to bring, because a tax report is only valuable depending on how accurate it is. You could file a report and it might say that you owe a certain amount, but if it's not accurate and you submit that, you could face a lot of problems, not only potentially overpaying on taxes, which no one wants to do, but also potentially underpaying on taxes, leading you to penalties and interest payments with the IRS or other tax authorities. That's why it's important to understand here that CPAI is able to identify transactions with a high degree of accuracy, ranging anywhere from around 97 to 98% here across the Ethereum network and Solana, two of the most predominant networks where you're going to be doing transactions. So in this case, this has helped them save tens of millions of dollars in tax calculation errors for their users in regards to Moontax, and now is going to be passed over into the CPAI platform. So this is really impactful stuff here, guys. I've seen it firsthand. Having things properly labeled, being able to have something that can really get an accurate report filed is going to make a huge difference when you're filing with taxes, preventing you from having difficulties, having to deal with backtracking transactions later on, or resolving errors, as well as being able to ideally, again, pay the least amount of taxes you are legally obliged to pay, right? That's the goal I think that everyone wants to focus on. The big boys do it. At the end of the day, I think everyday individuals should be able to have the tools that can also help them as well. So this is a really important thing here. Again, being able to have that accuracy of data, and along with that as well, increased data retention. Now, it's of course important to understand here that the human element, as they state here, is a big part of it, where essentially if there are any errors, being able to step in, any questions for the end user, making sure that they have the most accurate report or actually understand what transaction types are taxable events, and having the legal opinion and strategization around making sure that you're going to be optimizing your taxes as best as possible. So there's a lot of really great things here around the platform, again, that they've kept in mind. And this is, again, just kind of the first phase here, right? So phase one is the foundation and launch. So this is the beta that's currently going through right now. And essentially the platform already is using some of these AI components. It's usable in the sense of being able to track a whole range of different DeFi transactions, from swaps to yield farming, as well as centralized exchange transactions and other different types of DeFi transactions and various types of bridging transactions to keep track across a whole range of different networks. But outside of that as well, there's going to be phase two down the line, where there's going to be AI model enhancement through the user interaction. So through the beta test and more information coming through, we're going to be able to see this platform get even more powerful as time passes. And of course, phase three here, which is going to be cross-chain compatibility, expansion to international tax jurisdictions, the API launch to third-party integrations, so that this CPAI technology, as we're talking about from kind of an investment perspective, it's one thing to have your own interface and your own website. It's another to be able to build the tool that 100 different websites and brands can white label and utilize, that essentially build demand for the CPAI token. So if a project, for example, wanted to abstract the need for the utility token, where the company itself that would be using CPAI's technology would essentially do the entire process of managing and staking the utility token and then offer the service for a subscription rate, that could also be a possibility as well. But that's really the way you scale this technology long term, is through API integrations. And of course, as we talked about, the global outreach and the expansion to other tax jurisdictions. So right now, there's a predominant focus from my understanding of the United States, but I know many of you out there who come from a whole range of different countries, from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Canada, Australia, a whole range of different places in the world outside of the US that also are pretty strict when it comes to crypto taxes. So being able to reach more jurisdictions, that's the key goal long term. So there are some small short-term limitations here around CPAI, but they're not things that are permanent, and they're things that will change over time. So I think as an early stage project here, I think there's a lot of potential around what CPAI is building here, as well as the team's focus here of taking their expertise from Moontax and constantly reiterating and improving. Again, if you guys are interested to learn a little bit more about the team, I really like the profiles of Derek as well as Isaiah and Trent, who are some of the key figures here around the technology side, around the protocol, as well as leadership. If you want to look more into the team, I definitely recommend you guys check out their team section on their website. It seems that they've got a really good startup team focused on building a very valuable platform. And again, when I take a look at it from kind of like a value perspective here, again, I want to iterate that the token price is around 2.5 cents. So while that's kind of abstract in the grand scheme of things, what really matters is market cap, which we'll talk about in a minute. The thing I like here is that in order to access the service, you only need to stake 5,000 tokens. And while it sounds like a lot, if you kind of calculate it, it's a very small cost to be able to get access to such a wide pool of resources. So I think from a utility perspective, if you're able to get it on the beta launch, then I think it can make a lot of sense to be able to utilize those services. But beyond that as well, from kind of an investment perspective, it's at a $2.5 million market cap. You have a real platform being built. I think that at a valuation perspective, it's quite low. At the end of the day, guys, you're going to have to make the decision if you want to trade or invest in it. I'm not here to say anything around that. But at the end of the day, the project in this case is trading at quite a thin valuation here. And when you take a look at some of the existing solutions on the market, like CoinTracker or TaxBit, which we worked with in the past, these different protocols or platforms are valued at hundreds of millions of dollars, if not upwards of $1 billion or multi-billion-dollar valuations. This is a very clear problem in the crypto space. And it takes one new startup using a new avenue or approach like AI to completely upend and disrupt the entire process of how these startups work. Well, I think a lot of these platforms are great. I'm not here to dismiss anyone. Many of them have some great integrations and some good coverage of transactions. I think CPAI is also a potential player in the arena here. And I definitely think you guys should keep, at a minimum, an eye on what they're doing as a project. And consider them when you're looking at the different arsenal of options out there to simplify your taxes this tax season. In the case of the United States, if you're paying to the IRS, your taxes are likely going to be due around April 15th. There are sometimes some extensions where you can potentially get a delay on the date for filing your taxes. But at the end of the day, April is usually the month. So we're here in the midst of February. It's time to start getting prepared for it. If you guys are interested, you can definitely check out CPAI down at the link down below in the description. And you can also follow them over on Twitter if you guys are interested to follow the developments of what they're doing and all the new feature sets that are coming out. And of course, you can follow them over on Telegram where they already have over 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys are interested, again, check out the link down below in the description. I'm excited to see what the CPAI team is able to achieve in helping people to file their taxes and being able to take the knowledge set they had from Moonshot and being able to scale it to a much wider audience. If you guys find that it's a valuable platform for you, or if you're interested to learn more, feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section and get a discussion going. It's always great to have you guys here. I thank you guys for giving me some time out of your day. Hopefully this video proved valuable for you. If you enjoyed it, consider dropping a like, and I'll see you guys right back here on the next video.